spiritual living Red Deer and our celebration of life and love. I'm Reverend Judy Anderson, and I have the privilege this morning of leading our guided meditation. And just wherever you are, at your kitchen table or in this room, simply take that extra breath and let your shoulders fall. Maybe another sip of coffee. And simply be in this moment. And if you choose to use my breathing regulation, it's I breathe. As I breathe in, I relax, and I hold till I relax. And I am as I breathe out. So I breathe, I relax, I am. I breathe, I relax, I am. I breathe, I relax, I am. And once more, I breathe, I relax, I am. And the I am is a declaration of life and livingness, a declaration of now. And as I speak in the first person, in the I am, please embrace these words and thoughts as they work for you. I am in the midst of life, regardless of whether I'm an infant or an oldster, whether I am in full health or whether I am unwell today. This life on earth is such a brief thing, and it has what we call a beginning and an ending. But that is a limited understanding. I choose to think a larger thought, from eternity to eternity, everlasting, with only changes in degree, changes in spheres of consciousness. And so in this sphere of consciousness that we call life on earth, I make a choice to live as largely as possible. I make a choice to breathe more deeply, to exhale more fully, to relax more deeply, to enjoy more greatly. When I hear the laugh of a child, or the chirping of a bird, or when I see the squirrel running across my deck, or from tree to tree looking for a seed or an acorn or a pine cone, I choose to be fully in that moment and let go of what I am planning for the rest of the day. This very moment, this one, is of prime importance. This moment that I am in the midst of a meditation may be the most important moment of my day. For this moment is when I make my connection to the all that is, to that which I call God, to Spirit, universal mind, the Christ presence. And then as I make that connection and I speak my word. I declare that I am one with the allness and the vastness, one with the love and the grace and the joy, one with the love and the power and the wisdom. And I ask, I declare that all that I require for this day is given to me. I am guided, I am guarded, I am directed, I am led from thought to thought, from event to event. I am guided in my personal relationships. I am guided to, as I saw in a Facebook post this morning, I am guided to taste my words before they are spoken, because my words can sweeten a relationship or sour a relationship. I am guided as I drive from place to place today, that I do so with divine protection. I am guided and guarded. And I relax again, knowing that I am not alone in decision making. I am guided and directed and guarded. There is that within me which knows what is mine to do, what to do, and how to do it. There is that within me which cherishes my own being, my own sense of self. There is that within that acknowledges that my reality is spirit, walking on this planet in what we call body, or what we can refer to as a space suit, knowing that at some time we will take off that space suit and continue unencumbered into another experience. It is still life, life everlasting, life that is not terminated on this side of the eternal. I choose to stop for a minute or two and simply let ideas of eternality, immortality, and spiritual magnificence absorb me and hold me. I let the notes of the flute carry me to far places. Carry me on the air that is exhaled through the flute, through each note. I let those notes carry me to a higher place, a place of greater understanding, a place where I look down upon life as I know it, and I see a green and blue planet, and I see the hemispheres, the continents, the oceans, the mountains. I see it all spread out beneath me. But what I do not see are any lines separating what we call country from country. I see our earth as a one thing. A thing with fire at its core, and earth and rock as its mantle. I see all forms of life, from the tiniest insect, from the one-cell creatures, to the largest and the mightiest. I see the forms of life I call humanity. And humanity is a one-word description of my human family, which spreads from the North Pole to the South Pole, around the equator, and every point in between. I acknowledge my oneness, first of all with humanity, next with every living creature, again with all of the plant life on this planet, and then even with the rocks, the minerals, the fire within. And I know that in my own being too, there is the outer and the inner. There is the fire within, which I call the divine spark. There is the mantle, my outer being, and the way I choose to garb it, to cover it in things I consider beautiful or seemly or comfortable or simply what works. And I look around me and I look at the other beings, even in this room, and I look not at their mantle, but my desire is to look and see the fire within, see to the center of each being, see the God life and the perfection there, a perfection at the center, waiting to be unfolded into the outer experience, into ways of greater joy, greater well-being, greater happiness, greater and more loving relationships. I am one with that inner life of everyone in this room, with everyone on this planet. For in physical form, we are separate, but at the center of us, there is only one, expressing itself in multiplicity. But today, I choose to concentrate and to know more fully only the one. The one that spoke from the burning bush to Moses and told him to go to the Pharaoh and instruct him to set my people free. And when Moses asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" the voice responded, "Tell him, I am sent you." And so I come full circle to I am. And I follow it with as many ways of describing that which I know is God as I can come up with. I am love. I am wisdom. I am power. I am grace. I am wise. I am joyous. I am part of you. You are part of my I am. I am energy. I am light. I am one with the moonbeams, one with the raindrops, one with the leaves on every tree, one with every blade of grass, one with all that is, because I am one with that which is I am. I breathe. I relax. I am. I breathe. I relax. I am. I breathe. I relax. I am. I am. And I declare again, I am that which thou art. Thou art that which I am. I am that which thou art. Thou art that which I am. I embrace this knowledge, this state of being that is one with all of creation, one with God. And I release my words with gratitude, with loving thanks for the peace and the joy that this brings me. There is wholeness in the words, I am. And so it is. Now to continue into our service, Reverend Therese will come to the lectern and do our opening.
Thank you, Reverend Judy. That was a wonderful meditation. And thank you, everyone who is here in person and those who are here via video, Facebook, YouTube, thank you. Today is Sunday, May the 2nd. And I'm not sure if many of you here heard it, but I think you pretty well had to hear the birds up at least 5 a.m. or earlier. They were out there just singing their little hearts out. And really, it makes my heart sing to think they are enjoying life so much. I will enjoy life that much. Now, we no longer have our children's service, but we will once things go back to normal. So our Growing Spirit Circle, the word today is tolerance. People who are not tolerant cannot stand to have anything different. They criticize, they complain, and they condemn people just for being different. When we practice tolerance, there is space to be and space to grow. We accept others just the way they are. So the affirmation for today is, I am part of God and you are too, because God is all there is. So if you will repeat with me I will do it in 2 sections. I am part of God and you are too. Because God is all there is. And I'm adding a Reverend Tress, and I am part of God. Yay! Now our opening affirmation is on our pink sheet, and it's also sent out to those who are looking at our online. And it's, I plant new seeds in my garden of life. The seeds are those of loving relationships, radiant health, prosperity, and creativity. I dig out the weeds of anxiety, limitation, and fear so that the good can grow and bear fruit. Thoughts are the seeds. I am the thinker, I do the planting, and I reap the harvest. I tend my garden with wisdom, and so it is. Now this month, it's May, we're talking about holy uprising. And they have spelt holy W-H-O-L-L-Y and then H-O-L-Y, uprising. And Reverend Judy is going to share about think a larger thought. So Reverend Judy, please come. Thank you.
Go. Well, so nice to see quite a few people in the room this morning. I love the energy you create. Hugs all around, and hugs Mr. Gordon over there in his corner. So let's begin with a spiritual mind treatment. You might want to call it affirmative prayer, but I am old school. Spiritual mind treatment. I am treating my mind, and you, by accepting it, are treating your mind to a higher thought and a larger way of being. So right here and right now, I declare the good of this day. I declare that each one of us are one with that which we may call God, or universal mind, or simply the presence. We can even think of it as the Christ within. Jesus said, it is the Father within that doeth the work. So if you choose to think of it as the Father within, that's all right too. But I know that that which is within is powerful beyond measure. It is all of the power there is. If we think of all of the sources of power in the universe, wind power and steam power, fuel power, mind power, It is all a one thing. It is all God in expression, the power of God expressing itself in many ways. I know too that all of the mind, all of the thought, all of the knowledge that ever has been or ever will be is right now, fully present within us in that which we call God. And so I drink that in. And I give thanks for knowing that there is that within me which is sublime, which is beauty and grace and wisdom and power. And I know that it is mine to consult, mine to converse with, mine to use in the ways that are for my own highest and greatest good. And so I embrace these words, and I make a choice to live these words. And I now release them, knowing that my words are released into what we call the law of mind that acts upon them and makes it so. And so it is. So, our material that's sent out that can give us a guide for our talks if we choose to use them. Of course, today's title would be This Adventure Called Life. But some of the material, I thought, I want to do my own thing. So it's think a larger thought. And part of it is Ernest Holmes in Creative Mind and Success says, if life is thought, we can think a larger thought. That's where my title came from. And he goes on to say, no matter how large the picture you hold in your mind, you can make it larger. So stop and think, where have you left yourself in this little box when you could have pushed the walls out, when you can think a larger thought of who and what you are and who and what you might be? All right, case in point, Judy Anderson, at 18, joined the Air Force, spent 3 years having a beach party, and that was really fun. Got out of the Air Force, went to work for many years as a stenographer, shorthand typist at the university in Calgary, and then moved on to Grand Prairie and became the registrar of the college there, and then became a realtor in Red Deer for 21 years, never ever thinking that I would grow into a larger idea of myself to what is called a minister in Centers for Spiritual Living. I mean, it has to all come from thought. Sometimes we back into it, but there must be a prompting somewhere within to make us go out and live that larger way of being. So what is your story? Where have you arisen from, and where did you put up some mental boundaries that said, this is as far as I go, that I've had it all, that I'm just going to, put one foot in front of the other and hope for a little bit of fun along the way, but here's where I belong and here I stay. Now, some of us, as we get older, get stiff hips, so physically we're a little bit bound. You want to know a secret? Why I always wear slacks or a long skirt? Because my hips get tight, and you've no idea how hard it is to put on pantyhose to wear a short skirt. So, well, stop and think about it. But it means I get to pull out my old long skirts and say, oh, well, this is fun. But it's a matter, we adapt as we go along. And if we choose to think a bigger picture, we can think, wow, don't I look elegant today? This isn't a handicap. This is grace in expression. So if saying, and enlarging our thought. You've probably all of you seen on TV pictures of a mime in a translucent phone box, really hemmed in. And I've used this metaphor before, but it really fits today's message. So imagine, what box are you in? See it clearly. Shut your eyes if you want and visualize the box that you're in and how big it is. And then start pushing on the walls. Push them out that way and out that way. A little more, a little more, a little more. And see how large you can make that box. Or maybe push the walls out so far they disappear. That you are limitless potential. So where can your potential take you? Forget about all the reasons why you can't and start looking at the reason why you can. And the biggest reason you can is that within you is that which we call God, Spirit, magnificence, super power. And in that space, if there is something that you have always kind of longed to be able to do, but thought it was for other people and never for you, consult that within you. And don't say, I would like to do that. Say, guide me, direct me how to unfold this in my experience. And then shut up and listen. If you listen, you get the guidance. That is one of the tricks in meditation, is to do the meditation and in the pauses, listen. And use it. You can use it in such simple little ways too. Again, I tell you, I've used this probably 50 times in the last few years. But if you lost your car keys and you say, Spirit, I really need those car keys right now. You know where they are, tell me. And the thought immediately comes, you wore your red raincoat yesterday, look in the pocket. So use it. Inquire within. Say, where is that thing? It doesn't have to be for some of what you would consider a holy purpose. It can be for something as simple as finding car keys. If you're going to meet with someone, maybe it's a superior at work, maybe it's a difficult, what you're seeing as a confrontation. Say, all right, Spirit, I don't know how to handle this. You do. Guide me. That better? All right. It's tricky handling these mics. We get a lot of echo. Anyway, we're good again. So ask. Don't think anything is too trivial to ask that within you to accomplish for you. If it's as simple as finding your way around a city, it's as simple as consulting the internet to find out where to find a particular restaurant or a particular building. You don't even need a gimmick to hold in your hands. You just ask and let it be revealed to you. And in my own experience, way back my first couple of years in this teaching, which is, 1992, so 21 and 8, I'm going on for 30 years in this teaching. And in my early years, once when I was confronted with having to make a decision about whether to get into a relationship or not, I really had quite mixed feelings about it. And I jumped out of bed and sat cross-legged on my floor. I didn't know I could just lie in bed and do the same thing. But I got into my half-lotus position and said, okay, Spirit, what should I really do about this? And the answer came immediately. Is this something you really want to do? And the answer was very clear. No, of course it isn't. This isn't someone I want to be in a long-term relationship with. It might be convenient at the moment, but it isn't right. So ask, instead of lying in bed tossing and turning, ask that within you for the answers, for guidance. And shut up and listen. It'll happen. But thinking, I want to get back to thinking a larger thought, because you can think larger thoughts. It doesn't matter how old you are, or how young you are, or how tall you are, or how short you are, or what your weight is, or what your face looks like. Simply being who you are with what you have within you. Remember, the fire within is the same fire that fires the center of the earth, that runs the universe, that energy, that power, that grace, that thing we call God. Within you, don't make it little. It's intended to be big. And a little story about thinking a larger thought, and I'm going to go with the popular story of this, was James Watt and the steam engine. And the story goes, the way it has developed, that he was sitting in the kitchen watching his mother's pot boil on the kitchen and watching the lid lift from the power of the steam. And out of that observation, he thought a larger thought, and the steam engine was created. Now that's the popular version we like to listen to. In actual fact, there was already a sort of a steam engine, and he just invented a great improvement to it, a condenser or something. So, but think, go back to the original story. You watch the steam rising, making the lid on the kettle rise, and say, that has power. How can I put this power to work? Well, your powers of observation and the mind working in you is just as powerful as the mind that was working in James Watt. So think about it. Think a larger idea, not just a lid bouncing up and down on a pot and watching the steam come out of it, but a larger idea. What can I do with that? How can what I am seeing as a little bit of power be translated into a larger experience, a larger way of living, a larger way of being who I am? Now, Ernest Holmes goes on to say, the reason why so many people come to the point where they stop is that they come to a point where they start growing in their own minds. We must become the thing we want. We must see it, think it, realize it before the creative power of mind can work it out for us. So we must become it. We must see it, think it, realize it before the creative power of mind can work it out for us. Okay, the next question here is, I'm probably not the only one in our teaching who has sometimes felt that it looks like she can make that connection with the power within her, and I know Reverend Therese can, but can I do it? Well, there's another little analogy I'd like to use. Now, this may not hold true of modern strings of Christmas lights, but in the old ones, you would sometimes get what appeared to be a dead bulb. But if you fiddled with it a little, it might turn back on. And then if it turned off again, sometimes all you had to do was take the bulb out and clean the connection on the bottom of the bulb. Same with my Fitbit. I use lotion on my arm and it gets where the connections are on the back of it, and I have to clean that off in order to make the connection with my iPad where the Fitbit reports to. You need to clean the connections. So if you're having trouble, pardon me, which I must tell you, back a couple of years ago when I was going through over a year of treatment and being not super well, I kind of lost my connection. And the way I regained it was by getting back here in this building, by standing at this lectern, by teaching classes, and my connections are strong again. I cleaned the connections by getting back to the source of my spiritual nurturing. So remembering to keep the connections clean, and sometimes when you feel you've lost it, stop and think about it. What do I need to clean up a little bit? What do I need to do to get back on the path that I was on, that has led me to so much good? So keeping the connections clean. Remember, you might relate more to the Fitbit and the hand lotion than the Christmas tree light, but given those have changed so much. So what are you going to do about it? Do you have a greater idea of who you might be? Where's the risk? Have you thought about trying something new and different and greater? Sometimes we put aside the idea because of the risk. I might not be successful. Somebody might laugh at me. I might not be good enough. So getting past the idea of risk and into the adventure is really important. And I want to tell you, the original meaning of adventure had nothing to do with risk. In fact, where is it? The original meaning of adventure was to arrive. It was a Latin word, adventura or something. I had this here somewhere, but I won't worry about it. But to adventure is to arrive. That's the meaning of the word. So it's the risk in arriving. It's what goes into it, the decision. If I decide to drive to Edmonton, is there risk involved? Oh, there could be, depending on road conditions, weather conditions. But it is all about the arrival. When I set out, I'm already in my mind set on my destination to reunite with a friend or a family member for, maybe it's for a birthday or a celebration, or maybe it's to hold someone's hand in a moment of sorrow. But nevertheless, the adventure is there and the arrival is part of it. So consider that if you think about risk, that I might not make it. Think instead about arrival. Think a larger thought and let that within you, which has all of the answers, guide you and guard you to the destination, to the arrival. Don't sit on your talents or your ideas. That's like think about Howard Hughes, multi-millionaire, billionaire, who died in poverty, sitting on huge quantities of wealth, but he died in poverty, feeling that he was in poverty. So don't do that with your ideas and with your talents and with the good that is within you. Don't let it die on the branch. Don't let it wither. Water it, fertilize it, get it growing. Let that larger idea unfold until you are soaring, because that's your destiny, is not to crawl, but to soar. And I want to go back to the monthly theme. We are wholly holy. So we are not holy only in part, but in whole. Wholly holy. There's a chant that we used to sing at some of our conferences. You are holy, holy, holy. And it would go on like that. Reverend Joanne could really sing it, but you wouldn't want to hear me try to sing. I promise you. And I want to go into one more thing. The idea of thinking your larger thought and then trying to clear some of the debris is the starting point. In religious science, we have another saying. It's treat, as in do spiritual mind treatment, or say pray if you like, but treat and move your feet. And way back a century or two ago, I did a workshop called a metaphysical dance class. And it was, in effect, quite a bit of some basic goal setting, but in it, writing the things, try writing some goals, where you would like to be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 20 years. And then picture it like a piece of paper like that, and on one side you're writing your goals, and on the other side you write what steps you can take to get there. And then sign it. Make a contract with yourself to take some steps toward your goal. It's a metaphysical dance class. Oh, and of course, finished on the back side of the paper to write a treatment around that goal. And the treatment might say, I know God to be power and wisdom, intelligence, love, joy, grace. God is everything I could ever need to know. God is all that I am within myself. God in me is worthy of experiencing a greater good. I now accept, I allow this greater good that I desire to manifest in the form of this larger idea that I'm choosing to unfold. And I am willing to take the steps to get there, to give to my world that which I am capable of giving. This greater idea is an idea in the mind of God. It is my idea now, and I am guided and directed to accomplish it. I release these words into the power of mind, knowing that that law can never say no. I release those words, and it is with gratitude that I declare, and so it is. So you do those steps, you decide what larger idea you want to unfold, and then make a contract with yourself to start taking the steps toward it. And by the way, if once you start planning it out and another idea overtakes it, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, scrub that, erase it, delete it, I'm starting fresh. Just because you have made one contract with yourself, you can say this contract is now null and void, and this new and greater one replaces it. So flexibility, but definitely make some form of a contract with yourself and use the God-given powers within you to unfold a greater idea, a larger idea, and go with it. And so it is. All right, now we have that greater idea firmly in mind. Let's talk about, let's read our prosperity affirmation together. It's so much fun to go from 1 month into the next and get the new set of affirmations. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom, and it is my place to rule that kingdom with wisdom, enjoying its abundance and sharing that good with all. There is no need to hold tightly to what I have, for my supply has no limit. I give freely and accept fully, and so it is. And for those of you who are listening online, you know how to reach us. If you choose to contribute to the Center for Spiritual Living, you can go to our website, csl.reddeer.org, and there is a donate button. Or you can mail us a check at Box 28075, Red Deer, T4N7C2. And that information is also in the message that Reverend Truss sends out every Tuesday called This Week at the Center. So if you're not receiving that, maybe talk to her or phone or send a note and say, Reverend Truss, will you put me on that mailing list, please? And with that, let's read our closing affirmation in the large print. Thank you, Reverend Truss. Today, I live in the present moment. My total attention is given to each task and to every relationship. There is a joy and vitality in this, for I am not burdened by thoughts of yesterday or what comes next. Only this precious moment and all that it contains. God is good, life is good, and so am I, and so it is. Just a short closing treatment. We might want to call it a benediction. I bless this day. I bless each moment of this day. I bless each being that I am in relationship with, and I bless all those beings around this globe that I am still one with, even though I do not know their names or faces. I bless the good that is mine today. I bless the good that unfolds each delicious moment, each delicious hour, each delicious fruit of a day or an hour or a lifetime. And with loving thanks for all that is, I release my word, and so it is.